A lot of women start health or weight loss journeys. It happens every day. We certainly see it at the beginning of the year. January 1 is the time that everyone decides they're going to, get their lives together and be quote unquote healthier. And we start this. I'm guilty of this myself, so I'm not just putting everyone else out there. But we start these journeys and we feel super motivated. January, the first week goes fine. The second week starts to dip off a little bit, and that motivation seems to fade. And sometimes it fades pretty quickly. From your perspective, why do you think it's so hard for women to show ourselves some compassion when progress feels slow? Why do you think that motivation just goes away? Are you a busy woman who prioritizes everyone else's health above your own? Do you have questions about your diet, exercise, or how to prevent or treat certain health conditions? Are you always Googling health questions that you forget to ask or are embarrassed to ask your primary care physician? Girl, do you even have a primary care physician? Well, welcome to Headed to Healthier. I'm Dr. Brittany Anderson, a board-certified family medicine physician, and every day in my private practice, I have discussions with women just like you who are doing their best to juggle the demands of life while also desiring to become healthier. Inside this podcast, you'll find practical and actionable health tips that you can incorporate into your daily life. You'll get expert advice and insight from some of my awesome healthcare colleagues, and you'll hear relatable conversations with incredible women just like you who have made their health a priority and are thriving because of it. So throw on your sneakers and get some steps in while you listen. Or if you're driving, get those hands at 10 and 2 and let's dig in. We are headed to healthier. Hey ladies, welcome back to today's episode of Headed to Healthier. I'm so excited to be joined by Dr. Meghan Tierney, who's here today. Dr. Tierney is a family medicine doc. So like me, she is family medicine trained, but she is well trained, friend. She has additional certifications in obesity medicine and in menopause care as well. Dr. Tierney, welcome to the show. I'm in Alabama, you're in Seattle, Washington, so we are far apart from each other, but are here today together to really start talking about how we can, not just set health goals, but how we can face those goals head on, how we can make it okay with ourselves if things don't go as according to plan all the time, and give ourselves a little bit of grace as we work to reach those goals. So, Dr. Tierney, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to talk to you about this today.
All right, well, let's talk about it. But before we get into that, I want to make sure that
Yeah.
I'm right. So, family medicine trained, but then you do some additional work and you have additional certifications in obesity medicine and menopause care. Before we start talking, will you tell us a little bit about what kind of took you down that road to want to get that extra training and certification?
Yeah, I found that I was just really excited to talk to women in midlife. I feel like it's such an incredible time where we are sort of rediscovering ourselves, and it's such an opportunity to become the people that we want to be as we get older. And I have a very special interest in sort of weight neutral care, which seems like a crazy thing to have when you go into obesity medicine. But I was just having these patients who are looking to improve their metabolic health, potentially lose weight, go on a weight loss journey. And the doctors that they were seeing were doing like before and after photos and like making
Yeah,
them feel so shamed
yeah.
when they were working on their health, that I was like, there's got to be a better way. So I searched out training so that I could provide that care in a more thoughtful and compassionate way, because you want women to feel good at the end of the journey, right? Like it's not just about the process, it's about feeling good about yourself at the end.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
so right. You're so right. And there's some women, and women and men, but we think more about women when we talk about this subject, but women who despise going to a doctor's appointment because they
Yeah.
don't want the issue of their weight to come up, because perhaps it's come up in a way that feels offensive to them in the past. So, for that reason, instead of going for their regular checkup to go get to talk about their mammogram and, colon screening and, breast health and cervical cancer screening, all those things, they put those off because they've had bad experiences before related to their weight and the discussion around weight and their previous appointment. So I think you hit it dead on, and weight neutral medicine is so important. So power to you, Dr. Tierney.
Thank you, Dr. Anderson.
There you go. All right. Well, let's chat today. So, Dr. Tierney, a lot of people, and we're talking women specifically, but a lot of women start health or weight loss journeys. It happens every day. We certainly see it at the beginning of the year. January 1 is the time that everyone decides they're going to, get their lives together and be quote unquote healthier. And we start this. I'm guilty of this myself. So I'm not just putting everyone else out there. But we start these journeys and we feel super motivated. January, the first week goes fine. The second week starts to dip off a little bit, and that motivation seems to fade. And sometimes it fades pretty quickly. From your perspective, why do you think it's so hard for women to show ourselves some compassion when progress feels slow? Why do you think that motivation just goes away?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of reasons. And I think the first one, and the one that people don't really think about, is that that motivation may be coming from a poisoned well. So
Mm,
oftentimes women choose a to lose weight or to start exercising because when they look in the mirror, they say things to themselves like, I'm ugly, I'm fat, I don't like the way that looks, I don't like that roll, I don't like that curve, I don't, there's something about me I don't like and I want to change it.
mm,
So the thing is shame is a great motivator. Guilt is a great motivator in the beginning,
yeah.
but that fades really fast. And
Hmm.
then when you hit a place where progress is slow or even negative, that's just reinforcing all those terrible things you said to yourself. Now you're believing it because, oh, that's of course that's true. Of course I'm lazy. This is why I'm like this. There's no hope for me. So you're sort of starting from this negative place
Hmm.
versus something like I want to feel strong or I want to live a long like life with quality so that I can move with freedom and go on family trips when I'm 85 and all that stuff. So I think yeah, we start off from this place of negativity thinking that's how we're going to get us through, and it doesn't last.
Right.
And then you have like you add on top of that sort of the culture we live in where all of those negative thoughts are then also feel real because other people are saying them. Other people are saying people in larger bodies are lazy, that they're
Yep.
not deserving of care and respect. And so then when you feel like you've failed, you're like, well, these people were right. I am
Hmm.
a failure. I am lazy, right? And that's I mean, of course it's going to feel that way.
Hmm.
Um and then I think the hardest thing is that women, especially, I don't know, I think once you get to a certain place in your life in this world that we live in, it is hard not to equate your self-worth with productivity, with like
Right.
how
I agree.
good, yeah,
Right.
like how good you are at doing something. Um, and if you're like not meeting your own expectations, like that feels like you're not worthy, like there's
Mhm.
something wrong with you. You start questioning yourself and you feel like you deserve someone to, get tell you to whip you back in shape. And then finally, I think it's the feelings that we have when we do not meet our expectations or our doctor's expectations or our family's expectations. Those are difficult feelings to sit with. They are uncomfortable. It
Mhm.
does not feel good to feel disappointed, to feel
Mhm.
frustrated, to feel
Mhm.
grief. But the emotion that feels really easy is anger. Like it is so
It's so
easy to
easy
be,
to be angry, right?
it feels good. Like it
Yeah.
feels so good. Um, the problem is it's not productive. You turn that anger towards yourself. You're like, what is wrong with me? You're a
Right.
failure. Why can't you figure this out? There's something wrong with you. It feels good. It feels easy. It's so much easier than feeling disappointed. Um,
Mhm.
so like we fall into these patterns because it's something that we've been doing forever. And then the world around us just, makes it easier to fall into those
Yeah.
patterns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just really reinforces
Yeah.
that. You're right.
Yeah.
And so much of it then becomes making those mindset shifts within ourselves and thinking that we don't have to be perfect in the things we do. We just need to be making progress. So, I feel like so many of us fall into an all or nothing mindset that if I start on this journey and I mess up one day, I don't do what I told myself I was going to do, then all of a sudden they feel like they failed. How do you
Yeah.
think that we should go about making this shift from, this perfectionist thinking that you have to be 100% on every day? How do we go from that type of thinking to a more realistic and honestly a more sustainable approach? Because sometimes we set these goals that are not realistic, they're not
Yes.
sustainable. In the moment that we don't do what we've set out to do, all of a sudden, like you said, we're angry at ourselves.
Yeah, totally. And I think honestly, the first step is mindfulness, like actually being aware that you're saying those things to yourself, that like the death
Mhm.
spiral has started.
Yeah.
Where you go from like I messed up to like everything is hopeless and I should just stop. Is being mindful of when that starts, because if you don't even know you're doing it, you
Yeah.
can't stop it. And I think that that's potentially the hardest step, is to be aware of how you're speaking to yourself.
Mhm.
But like once you are aware, you can I mean, I feel like my favorite trick is like when I say, I mean, first of all, we all say negative things about ourselves. Like the most like mindful,
Yep.
kind, loving,
Still
self-compassionate
does it.
person still does it. Still has negative thoughts. You can't get
Yeah.
away from it, right? But instead of just like accepting that voice as truth, um, it's like something that you can turn the volume down on, or you can say, "Hey, I hear that. Um, that's hurtful. I hear that you're trying to motivate me, but maybe it's actually this. Like maybe, and then I would use like the voice of my friend, and I would say like, what would my friend say to me in this moment when I step on the scale and I've gained 5 pounds after going on a trip? My friend would say, "Gosh, so great you had so much fun on your trip.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
awesome. That's awesome." You know, um, it's okay for us to like talk back to ourselves. Like it's okay to have to interrupt and say like, "Hey, wait a second, where are you going with that?" You know?
Where
Like,
are you going with that? That's what I need to, that needs to be the interruption that I make with most of my thoughts. Slow down, Anderson. Where are you going with that?
yeah, where do you go with that? Yeah, I think I think personally, like once I started realizing like that voice isn't the truth, it's just a perspective. Like it's a part of me that's trying to protect me. It's a part of me that's worried about me, right? Um, and that I can have a conversation with it and say like, "Hey, I hear that, and this was a hard week for me. I was telling you before the call, my kids were sick. It was a really rough and stressful week. I did not work out at all this week. And I'm not thinking to myself, man, I'm such a failure. I'm thinking, gosh, you made it through this week and like
Yeah.
you
Right.
still you still got on this call with Dr. Anderson.
Right. Yeah. And you're still
Yeah.
here. Here you go.
Yeah, I'm still here. Great job, Megan. So yeah, I think like just being able to be mindful that that's happening and then feel welcome to interrupt and to have a conversation, and to say thank you. I hear you, and that's not helpful for me right now. You know. And I also want to say like we sometimes think like if we don't listen to that drill sergeant in our head, that like that means that we're giving up, that we're like like this is like the first step to like not doing anything. And in reality, like you can give yourself love and kindness and say like, "Hey, what support do I need right now because things didn't work out?" And then say like, "Oh, what's the next step? Like
Right.
what's one little thing I can do next?" Like
Right.
being kind to yourself is not the end of the road or the conversation, you know?
Yeah, you're so right, and you're so right in that we sometimes take that, tuning out that voice in our head that maybe is speaking some truth, but just speaking it in a really harsh way. That
So
we,
mean.
yeah, when we when we discount that, when we think better thoughts instead, that we believe, all right, this is how the slippery slope ends, and now you're never going to do anything that you're supposed to do. But it doesn't have to be that. I love the way you put that. It doesn't have to be that one day of not doing what you'd set out to do and also giving yourself some grace in doing that doesn't mean that you're now on the downward spiral. So I love
Yeah.
about that. And that gets kind of to my next point of thinking about being kind to ourselves. And you already started to talk about some ways that we can show ourselves kindness while still being accountable, because that's the thing, we don't want to make our listeners think it's not okay to just give up everything that you've said you wanted to do. But how do you think we can go about showing ourselves some kindness, practical ways we can go about showing ourselves some kindness if we miss those steps?
Yeah, I think honestly it's really reflecting on like how you're feeling, like how, like think about the feelings that you're having about what happened, or feeling that disappointment, feeling frustrated with yourself, like those are uncomfortable feelings and you're allowed to have those feelings, like don't brush over that. um and then it's understanding that, the problem is probably is really not you. The problem is probably the goal or the circumstances. So I have a really great story about this that just happened this past week. I had a patient who I had seen a month ago, and she was like just starting on her weight loss journey. She is doing zero exercise, like no on purpose moving her body. And so we were working on a goal. And so she had picked walking after dinner with her grandkids. And I was like, great goal, love it. Um, and I'm like, let's just do something short, like 10 minutes. And I was like, how many times a week do you want to do it? She's like, I'm gonna do it every night. And I was like,
Yeah.
that feels like
Let's
a
give
lot.
yourself some grace. Yeah.
That feels like a
Some
lot.
grace and
Why
some
don't we
space.
why don't we just start with one? Let's start with one and see what happens. And she's like, great, I'll do it. I'm like, perfect. 4 weeks go by. We get on the phone together or on the video call together. And I was like, so how did it go with the walking? And she's like, I didn't do it. Obviously, she does it like, I'm sorry, doctor. I didn't do it. I'm so
Mhm.
sorry. We always apologize. Like,
Sure.
there's something wrong with me that I didn't do this. And I was like, the goal was wrong. Something was wrong. What was the barrier to going on this walk? It sounded like it could be easy for you, and it wasn't. So why wasn't it? She's like, well, it was cold outside and it was dark. It started getting
Mhm.
more rainy. It just didn't feel possible. And I was like, those are really good barriers. Like
Right.
those are barriers for you to go for a walk. Like let's figure out something you can do that feels easier, that doesn't have those barriers. And so, she decided she's going to do some workout videos that she got off of YouTube. And again, I was like, how many times a week do you want? She's like, I'm going to do it 3 times a week. And I'm like, what? Let's just do one.
Slow your
Do
roll.
one. Roll your roll. I love your enthusiasm, but let's be really successful. We want it to be so that you're gonna you'd have to you can trip and you would still reach this goal.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so yeah, like we're like one day a week, we're gonna see what happens in 4 weeks, and then we'll reassess. Like it's always about, like if you're not succeeding at your goal, there's something
Yeah.
needs to change, right? Like maybe you need support that you didn't realize you needed. Like maybe you need to talk to your partner about like, hey, I need you to watch the kids for 30 minutes while I do this workout. I thought I could do it because when they were around, but they're too annoying. I can't do it. And so like sometimes it's just like asking for help. But the reflection isn't there's something wrong with me. The reflection is what is going on that's making this so hard.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that, and I know that you've not seen the inside of the Healthier Planner, so it's this planner that I created, a hand sketch this planner that is, not just a regular daily planner, but it really is a place to track our health. So it's got, a place to put your past medical history, your medications, the docs that you're seeing, et cetera. But one of the parts that I really love about it is that it has a place each month to put your goals for that month, your health goals for that month, how you're going to reach those goals, who's going to hold you accountable to those, how you're going to reward yourself when you hit them. But to your point, there's this place at the end of the month for you to reflect and to say,
Yes.
if I didn't hit this goal, this is why. Because it's so important to be able to alter course and to not
Yeah.
just take it as a personal mark on ourselves if we don't hit our goal. So I love the way you put that not hitting goals is not necessarily a direct reflection on you. What are the outside things that are keeping you from doing it? So I think that
Yeah.
that's really an important, and one of the things that I hope that folks who are using the Healthier Planner look at and realize that this is not, if I don't hit these goals that I set, it's not me, it's not just me, right? But that maybe there are some factors that are in the way, and how can I then shift the goal to be something that is truly attainable, something that I can reach. So I love for adding that. That's great.
Yeah, that's so great. I also think an antidote to like feeling like, like you've gained 5 pounds, like where's the progress, like what's happening, is that you've written down your goals along the way so
Mhm.
that you can look back and see like, oh, actually at the beginning of this year, I'd never exercised before. And now
Yeah.
I'm exercising 3 days a week. And like, okay, like this week didn't go as planned, but look how far I've come. And if you don't write it down, like
Absolutely.
you don't remember that. You don't remember where you've come from. So that's awesome.
Absolutely. I take that as Dr. Tierney's endorsement of the healthier
Yeah.
planner. I'm just kidding. But no, you're so right. I love that. And that's something that I didn't even think about, right? That having this, physical book in front of you that allows you at the end of the year to go back and say, golly, look at all I accomplished this year. And
Yeah.
comparing that in 2026 to where you were in 2025 is just fantastic. So good.
Amazing.
So, Dr. Tunick, question for you. If someone's listening to this, so my audience is largely women, women who are, 40 plus, who lead really busy lives, but are at this space in their lives where they say, I have got to get healthier. I have the responsibility of work, of, family, taking care of my children, maybe at this age also taking care of aging parents, all these things that are going on, but they feel a little bit stuck. Or they say, I've tried to do all these things in the past and just have fallen off track. What would you say to those women about steps that they could take to quote unquote get on the right track, or to start, as you've already talked about, setting goals that they can reach and goals that really get them to a healthier state?
Yeah, I think there are two parts to this. One is that, and I think we've already touched on this, which is falling off track is sort of part of the plan, right?
Hmm.
Like we like the practice of like building new habits is not actually the habit itself, but
Right,
what happens when you don't do it? Like what
right.
happens when it doesn't happen? You weren't able to go on your luck. What on your walk? Like what are the things that are going through your head? Are what how are you talking to yourself? How are you building your resilience so that the next time it's time for you to go for your walk, you can go on that walk? Like
Hmm.
how do you build that muscle of getting back on the horse, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah, and so I think what I would say is, again, part of the plan is that we're going to fail and we're going to keep failing, but we're going to learn from every failure, right? We're
Mhm.
going to learn from every process. We're going to learn what we need to be able to be successful. And so, yeah, like really reframing all of those falling off the track things. And then second is, we already touched on this, which is you need to pick goals, one, that are aligned with your values,
Yes.
right? So for some women, it may not necessarily be that important to them that they lose weight, but it is important to them that they, reduce their disease risk,
Mhm.
or that they improve their cardiovascular fitness, so that they can do fun things with their kids, or like everybody has different values or what is important to them when it comes to how their body moves through the world. And it's important that their goals align with that, right? Like everybody's goal is going to be a little bit different. And then it's really following. I think your planner does this, which is the SMART goal,
Yeah.
right?
I love smart goals. You're right. So important.
Yes.
So important.
Yeah, I think it's really the only way to create a goal. So that it's not about I'm gonna get healthier. It's not about like I'm gonna pick the right foods. It's not I'm gonna exercise. It's I'm gonna go for a walk 3 times a week for the next 4 weeks, that sort of
Absolutely.
thing. And because it's the only way you're gonna be successful, one, and two, be able to reflect. Because if you have specifics, then you can learn from it. Yeah, otherwise it's just like throwing spaghetti at the wall and like hoping.
And so I include SMART goals there because I think it's so important. And for anyone who hasn't heard it, we don't mean SMART as, the anonym to dumb. We mean SMART as an acronym, right? So the S being specific, the M making sure those goals are measurable, the A being that those goals are achievable, the R that they are relevant, and the T is that they're time bound so that you're not setting just some goal that has no end to it, but that you are putting a time into it so that you have that time to go back and reflect. And that's what we've heard you talk about, Dr. Tierney, the importance of kind of not just setting the goal, but taking that space to go back and look to see, did you hit this goal? Did you not hit this goal? And if not, why? So, to your point, you're absolutely right. The healthier planner includes that. And here comes my shameless plug. The
Love
healthier
it.
planner, at least for now, is available. My listeners know about it already, and I include it in the show notes, but it can be found. You can look through the planner and make that decision to order it or not at healthierplanner.com. But I tell folks, even if you don't order the planner, you don't have to have a planner to start setting goals. You don't have to have a planner to track your blood pressure. You don't have to have a planner to keep track of your medications, any of those things that I thought were great to put in the healthier planner, these are all steps that we can make towards our everyday life. We can use them, on a sheet of paper, on a note card, in our cell phone, any of these things. But the idea of the planner really is to just pull them all together in one place. So it's one of those things that I've been proud to create, and I'm literally fulfilling the orders and packing them in my living room, Dr. Tierney. It's been a whole blast, but it's been fun, and so that's what I'm working on. Tell us about what you're working on because you gave the example just a minute ago about the patient that you're working with. And I am sure that people were listening and thinking, I wish that my doctor gave me that kind of grace, right? I wish that my doctor gave me that kind of grace, that they really understood where I was, where I wanted to be, and understood some of those barriers that may keep me from hitting these goals that they set with their doctors. And so I love the practice that you're building. It's been so fun to watch you as you build this practice, and it I know is going to be just a light to the world. So, a new practice. Tell us about it. I've got listeners that are all over the country who may be in your area, but they don't necessarily have to be in your area because you're doing some telemedicine too, right?
That's true. That's true. If you're in Washington State, I'm also seeing patients across Washington State. Hopefully, a few other states in the future. But yeah, it's called Sorrel Health and Wellness. It's a membership-based clinic here in Seattle, Washington. It's where I help women navigate perimenopause, menopause, and metabolic health and weight management with a foundation of self-compassion and mindfulness, using evidence-based care and medicine and nutrition to help women, feel at home in their bodies,
Yeah.
improve their energy, their confidence, their overall well-being.
Absolutely. So I love how you say feel at home in our bodies. I think that that is a part that's missing so often. And it goes back earlier with you talking about practicing weight neutral medicine, that really helping women get to a healthier state without the shame and the guilt and the stress and all those things that sometimes come along with it. I mean, I think that we as physicians, as doctors, do our best to treat the patients who are in front of us. But you and I both know that there are, some physicians who are out there that women just don't have the best experience with because they don't feel like they are comfortable in their bodies to begin with. And then they go to
Yeah.
a healthcare office that reinforces that. So I love the work that you're doing. Now, you are also on social media. I'm going to tag all this in the
Yes.
show notes. So tell us, you can say them here, but if my audience is out for a walk or driving or out for a run or any number of things, they can always go back to the show notes and find where they can find you. Tell us about that, Dr. Tierney.
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram as at Meghan Tierney MD, and then at Sorrel Health and Wellness. And then I just started my own YouTube channel for
Oh, I
Sorrel
love
Health and
that.
Wellness. Yes.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so I'll be talking all about metabolic health and midlife women's health, and how you can feel at home in your body.
I love that. And I love how approachable you are and just how pleasant you are and how you deliver things. And I know I follow your IG, and so I see that there. And I'm excited to follow your YouTube because I know that you're going to be doing the same thing there. So, ladies, if you are looking for a reliable and trusted source to get health information, Dr. Tierney's social media is absolutely it. If you are in the Seattle area or even just in Washington State in general, go find her practice. Sorrel Health and Wellness is it. And like I said, I'll tag those in the show notes so y'all can easily find them. Dr. Tierney, I always like to give my guests the last word. It can be something related to what we've talked about today. It can be anything that you want to share that you think is important to leave as lasting words for the audience. Again, women who are busy but are on our way to a healthier life.
Yeah, I mean, I think all women, no matter where you are in your life, deserve love, care, kindness, and respect, and that's from yourself and from others. And if you're not getting that from your healthcare provider, you should absolutely find someone who is doing that for you, because you deserve that care and you deserve to have support in reaching whatever it means to you to be healthy.
Absolutely. Those are such wonderful closing words. Something along those lines I say on so many of our episodes, and that is if you are not getting the care that you know you deserve and the care that you know you need, find somebody else. There are
Yeah.
doctors out there. Go find one that works for you, who will listen to you and will care for you. And I strongly
Yeah.
recommend Dr. Tierney if you're in her area. Dr. Tierney, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank
It has
you.
been a pleasure. Ladies, her contact info is going to be in the show notes, so please check it out and absolutely follow her on social media. I will be tracking down your YouTube channel. I'm excited to continue to learn from you, Dr. Tierney. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me. It's been great.
Hey, thanks for listening in today. I hope something you heard in this episode will help you on your journey to becoming healthier. Remember, this podcast offers general health information. I am not your personal physician. If you need advice that is specific to you, be sure to consult your physician. If you enjoy this podcast, please consider sharing it with a friend and reviewing it on Apple Podcasts. Also, be sure to subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode. Tune in next week for another great episode of Headed to Healthier. Until then, take care of yourself. Talk soon. Bye.